What's up? We love Fader. Okay, well, how much of what you learned with Terrence Malick did you bring into this film? Oh.
Yeah, my first job, I was a film loader for Terrence Malick, and I was loading IMAX cameras. To me, the big thing, it was twofold. One was that was working with film, and I've always wanted to shoot on film, and finally we got to shoot this first film of mine that I directed that we shot on film. Yeah. Huge for me. Secondly, I think too, it's just like the way Terry he's obviously a singular true auteur. Like he makes films only he could make. That's something I've always strived towards, and I think also the way Terry uses music with imagery, and the way he'll use montage at times, especially like later Terry. Like movies are probably like a bit more traditional narratively, but the ebbs and flow of that and the emotion of that music with image was like
Tree of Life type of.
Exactly. That's huge for everything I've made. You know, huge for this movie too.
Absolutely,
you know?
You definitely see his inspiration on Waves too, like
I
that whole montage at the beginning.
I mean, and I got to work on Tree of Life, but it's also like one of my favorite movies ever made.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like,
it's great.
Yeah.
The genesis of the film, I didn't have Persona as an inspiration at all. It was actually Trey that brought that in and was like, you know, study this movie, you know, and I'd always, you know, I've seen Persona, I've always been a fan of Bergman's work, but for this one specifically, I think I had to really get into the mind of Trey, and then when I watched it again, and then he sent that draft, it like made so much sense, and then I was able to kind of bring my own inspirations into it. I feel like this is more of a question for you.
I think Persona is one of my favorite movies ever made. I think the way he melds character, psychology, in a just riveting, compelling, at times scary way. It's just, you know, when I saw Persona, it was, you know, blew me away. One of the greatest things I ever saw. So I just loved the potential of this, because it was like after we met, and you said you had lost your voice, but it was psychologically driven. Yeah. That was like the light bulb that clicked with me, that we could like, you know, we could hopefully have a movie where you go on kind of a ride with it, and if you want to take stuff at face value, you can. Or there's a way deeper, richer, kind of Jungian psychological dream analysis thing going on that is really deep and rich to tap into.
That you wrote in detail in the script, by the way. Totally. So it's all explained in the script, but what you're showing, you take it for face value. It's either this, you know, this linear story that is entertaining and you're watching it, and then if you watch a few more times, you can pick up on what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how I felt when I saw Persona. It was like, I didn't even know how everything clicked into place or in it, but I was just riveted, and whatever I saw was powerful. And that movie is so open that you can watch it the rest of your life and take different things from it. And I was like, if we can just strive to get like a little bit of that in this, that would be amazing. But yeah, huge. For me, that was probably the biggest influence on this movie.
Yeah, but very much like a Trey Edward Shults film. This might be the most psychological.
It is,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
What was important for me is that, you know, because I was such a fan of his work, I was hoping that it fit in his body of work, because I just didn't want to fuck up his, you know, his streak. we got a great Trey Edward Shults film, man. I'm really excited for people and your fans to see it as well too.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah. I'm very proud of the movie. I want people to see it.
Yeah. I can answer that one. I mean, one of the main concepts of this film is sleep paralysis. You know, essentially it's kind of like there are no antagonists in this film. I think that sleep paralysis is the enemy in the film, and then we reveal a few things after. But that is something that, you know, I was really dealing with, still am to this day. Not as much as before, but they're very vivid. They're very vivid nightmares. I don't know if anybody experiences it, but it's just you're in bed and you're awake, you're asleep but awake, half asleep, half awake, and you're aware of your surroundings, but you can't move. You're paralyzed for almost a minute, and sometimes you see a shadowy figure in the corner, and you hear whatever those voices. There's sweet nothings. It's saying nothing essentially, but they're voices. And you know, I did my research on it, and it's lack of sleep, right? Your brain is still awake when you're asleep. So That was my biggest medicine for it. Was just turn your phone off, turn the TV off, turn all the lights off, you won't get it. I usually get it when I leave a light on.
Really?
Yeah, because
silhouette.
Your brain is kind of still awake.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So the irony is it's got to all be dark and scary for you to sleep through the night.
That I've never had sleep paralysis, but it's horrifying. Yeah. I find the idea utterly terrifying. So when he told me about it, I was like, we have to use that in the movie.
But you captured it brilliantly in the film. I feel.
Thank you. That was the goal. Literally, just trying to do what you said happens. Past that, I have weird, my dreams are gibberish. I have to work really hard to when I wake up to focus on it and remember. I have no dream I could say that perfectly applies, but usually it's when heavy stuff's going on in my life, I'm working stuff out in my head, but a lot of times it's sheer utter gibberish that I'm sure Jung would say has all its reasons, but I have no clue at the moment. But my wife cracks me up because her dreams are always very realistic, anxiety-ridden dreams. So I was as long as I don't get those dreams, I'm good.
Or sleep paralysis.
Exactly.
Oh, you were the one.
Yeah, that was me.
Where was Fader last year? don't get fired. The camera it's so sensitive. It just picks up your thoughts, and I knew going into this film, especially with someone like Trey, obviously would never want to let someone like him down. I wanted to do my job as an actor. So, make my peace with the idea, with the script, give whatever notes I have to give, but essentially it being his film, right? Where I give him the material, he makes the movie he wants to make, and I get to just focus on being an actor and not give a fuck about what's going on behind the scenes, And he made it easy for me. I mean, I always make this joke, Trey's like a cat when he directs. You don't know where he is. I've seen him
under the floor somewhere.
I've seen him under a table one time, looking at a monitor, just in a bathtub. Yeah. He really doesn't want to get in the way of whatever is happening in front of the camera, and it was just it was a smoother process. I got to just focus on performing and doing what I do in front of the camera and stay in it. Just stay in the role. And we had great people working on it. We had our friend, Keoghan, who passed away, who was a producer on it. Trusted him, trusted his ideas, trusted Trey as a director, trusted Chase, trusted Barry. Barry, who's been a longtime friend of mine. I knew he was the only one that can play this role because we were like brothers already. Yeah. So a lot of it didn't feel like acting. I got to just be with my brother in that moment. And Jenna as well too. Jenna just was so patient with me and just gave incredible notes, and she's just doing so much heavy lifting in the film that it just felt like I was in a great space to just perform. And then I got to see the first cut and I was just blown away by it. I mean, people say it was a cathartic. Watching that first cut was very cathartic for me in many ways. Revisiting the voice loss, making this film, just everything about it felt very cathartic, and just work with people who genuinely want to work with you. I think that's important because you're able to trust them, and then they'll protect you, and then that's essentially it.